Hi, this is Tom. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to talk today about how to build and deploy a web app. And I have, this is the web app that I'm building, that I built. And it's called How to Deploy Your Self-Contained Web App. And the way that I built that was I started with this one called How to Build Standalone How-To Web Apps with Gemini. Okay, long name, but it's basically how to make an app like the one that you're looking at. It's a bit meta here because the app itself tells you how to make itself. So the steps that I used, and I made a video on this. If you want to go through this app will talk about details, and I'll include the URL in the description of the video if you want to go here and look at this. But very quickly, all I did was for this one was just do view, page source, and then Control A and Control C, copy paste the code, and start a new Gemini session. So I did that, and I pasted the code, and then I told it that I wanted it to be about how to deploy the app. I wanted it to have the same look and feel, and uh, make one like that, but with the new content. And then it built this. And in order to get it to display here, very simple. You just click on Canvas, and then I said, please make this previewable. So the three steps were, give it the source code, click on Canvas, say, please make this reviewable, and then it created. This was the first one. So this was the how-to web app. It just did this. And then I told it, okay, I want this look and feel, everything the same, but I want the new content for how to deploy the web app, and then that's this one. And they look very similar, which you can see. And then, so that was step one. And step two is I created a folder. I have a structure for my web apps. So the structure is I have a documents folder, and then on documents, I have a folder called mono repo for self-contained apps. And the mono repo is, instead of using a different repo for each app, you can use one repo and have many apps for that repo. And that works very well for standalone or self-contained web apps. So the self-contained web app, it's only one file. So it's an HTML file that has HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, which is for the styling. So one file, and having one file greatly simplifies everything. So the one file that we'll have is called index.html. So in order to do that, so I created the folder so it would have a place to put it. So the folder is called How to Deploy Your Web App. So I created that folder, and then I went to Notepad and I copied and pasted the new code that Gemini created and put it here and saved it as index.html under How to Deploy Your Web App, do index.html, and then save it under all files. Okay, and then it saved the file, which is right here, index.html. And then this is kind of cool about these self-contained web apps is if you double click it, it'll pull it up on your local browser and you can view the app. So you can see it looks a little different in the browser than it does in Gemini, because Gemini has this sandbox area to display it. But if you want to see what it's going to actually look like when you deploy it, you can do what I just did there. Double click on it, take a look at it. Okay, then, so step one was in Gemini here. I gave it the code to copy off of. I told it what I wanted, the new content, same look and feel. It created it. And then I went through the steps I just showed you to create the folder and then save the index.html file to save it there. Then so that's step one. Gemini creates the code. Step two, save it. Step three, we're going to commit it to our local repository. So in order to do that, I'm in PowerShell. And then in PowerShell, I go to the where I want to be. The folder I want to be is this Mono for self-contained apps. So navigate to here and then do git status. So git status told me that I had one file to deploy, or one entity, I guess I should say. It says how to deploy your web app. And then you use add to track the changes. So I did git add dot. And then I committed it to my local repository. And so these three steps committed to my local repository. Now, if this is new to you, it's no problem because that's the purpose of this app. So you can read through the app, and Gemini knows all of this stuff cold. So you can talk to it in simple terms where you can say, like, the first thing was just give it code that you want to pattern out off of. Second, tell it you want what content you want for your new code. And then you can just tell it, how do I save this to my local environment? What do I do? I'm on Windows using PowerShell. It'll walk you through all the steps. Tell it I want to commit it to my local repository. It'll guide you through everything. And it'll be just like that. Okay. Or of course, you can refer back to this video. Okay, so I've got it to my local repository. Next step is I'm going to go to push it to GitHub, which is the repository in the cloud. So to do GitHub, you can just go to github.com, create a new account, and then you can use this plus to create a new repository. Very simple. Okay, and then the next step is to push it to GitHub, and that's this command here, git push origin main. And again, Gemini will walk you through all of this. And also, once more, that's the purpose of this app that I built. I'm going to include the URL here, and the information is all going to be in this app that you can click through, look around, and familiarize yourself with. Okay, so we've got to push to GitHub. And then in GitHub, I can check to make sure that it's here. So if I click on my workspace, or the main dashboard, I see all my repositories. I click on self-contained HTML apps, and then from here I can verify that the one that I just built came through, which it did. If I click on that, there's only one file, index.html, there it is. So I'm good to go to the next step, which is to go to render. So I'm using Render as a web host service. I'm using free versions both for GitHub and for Render. The only thing that I'm paying for is the monthly subscription for Gemini, which is $20 a month. Okay. Then to go through here, what I did was, if you click on this icon, it'll show you all of your entities. So there are websites and static sites. So for these apps, I'm using a static site, and Gemini can help you decide like what you want to use for it. And you can just click on this new button, and it'll have a static site. So click on New Static Site, and it'll take you to, let me go to the right one here. So I want to go to How to Deploy Your Web App. Okay, it'll take you to this screen here. And to fill this in, I tell it what the repository is. which is self-contained HTML. Here, let me do a new. I'll do it. I'll show how what it looks like, and I'll do a new to show both. So you put in the repository you want to use. You'll put in the name of your site. So for the name of the site, I'm going to use the same name that I have here. So this is the name of the folder that I had, and I can just grab this, copy paste it to make sure there's no typo. They have to match. So that's the way to do it. Don't type it, copy paste it. Okay, so I'm using the same name. So this is going to be the name for my website. It's going to be the URL that's going to show up. And I'm also going to use it a little bit further down here. Okay, so here is the repository that I'm using. And I'll come down here, I put in the name or the root directory, and then I put in this thing here, echo no build required, and it fills this in by default, and then I just deploy it. So here's what it would look like. So let me grab this. All right, so I'll copy the name. Okay. So pretend like I'm starting from the beginning here. So I'm going to do a new static site. Okay, I choose the repository I want. I give it the name. Here's the name. Okay. Then I tell it the directory. And notice here it says that this is optional, and it explains like what it's doing. And notice here it says most commonly used with the monorepo, and that's exactly what we're doing. And again, any questions you have, the AI will help you with. So this one was the trickiest thing. It took me a while to figure out how to get this to work. But this is in the app that I built for this operation. And that is, here you can put in true after the $sign, or what I prefer is I'm going to put in echo no build required. So echo is like a print statement. It'll print it out when it does the logs. And then it says no build required. And that's self-documenting. It's saying that there's no build since it's just one file. And this is a workaround just because of the way that this is. I can only go back to here. I can't edit this stuff. Gemini is not going to like this, but you can tell it like that this is the way it has to be. This is a workaround because it won't let you, edit this and go back. All right. Does this by default? That's it. That's all the steps. It's just the repository you want, the name, give it the root, and this workaround thing here. And then you click on deploy static site. All right. So I don't actually want this, so because I already have it. So I will go back this way. So here's my deploy. So this is showing yeah, that's not helpful, is it? What does this say? Well, let's see. I don't see how to show you I'll just do it again. All right, here we go. I wanted to show the log. So I'm just going to do a redeploy. So then you can see what it's doing. All right. So what it'll do is it'll do these steps that it's showing here. And you can see how fast this is too. It's just as fast the first time you do it. Really nice. So because everything is self-contained in that one file, there's not very much for it to do. And you can see it says echo no build required. So it echoed that statement, no build required, right there. And when it says your site is live, that's all the time that it takes. So the first time you do it, that's what it would have done if instead of backing out, if I had clicked that deploy static site button, this is exactly what it would have done. Then you can click on the link and it'll go to the new file, the new web app that you created. Okay, so I'm going to put the URL for both of these. I've got one that talks about building the web app that you can go through. click your way through, look through all this stuff. And also I'll have one for this one that was just built on how to deploy it, just what I talked about right now. And just to go very quickly through the steps. So step number 1 would be view page source, copy the code that you want. If you want to make one that looks like this, go into Gemini, preview it, make sure it's working. Tell it what new content you want. It'll use the same style. It'll create the new content. Then you go to your files Explorer, create the folder you want to put it in. You'll have to create this structure here. Gemini will help you through that. Also, you can refer to this video. You can just use the same structure. Create the new folder. Go to Notepad. Save the file as index.html. Then in PowerShell, then you do the commands to commit to your local repository and push it. And then you go to GitHub. You check that it's there. And then render, you can build the web app. Now, this has gotten so much easier than what it was. Because I would say just like until recently, I don't think a person could do this that didn't have experience in software development. And here, if that's not your background, this may seem really complex. But because the AI is so, I would say, stable, I rarely run into the only problems I've done a bunch of these. It's my own typos. It's really the only problem that I've had. So as long as I don't have typos, it's just very, very good. The AI is. And so I think that anyone that's somewhat tech savvy, if you've used these web apps, so you're familiar with using them, that I think you could go through this process and it would work. And that's, excuse me, the purpose of this video. I'm going to do some more and try to see if anybody, try to encourage people that are interested in this to bite the bullet and try it out, because I really think you'll be able to do it. Well, thanks for watching, and until next time.